How would you say that? Chamucos?
Oh man, see, this is something I'll always butcher. Anything Spanish.
Chamucos. Chamucos? Chamu.
Chamucos Anejo.
Chamucos. But yeah, I haven't had this yet, so I'm excited to try it.
Do we need an actual? Oh no, it's an easy open top.
Easy open top. Whoops, sorry. All right. When you drink, because I know you're a big tequila guy.
I'm only a big tequila guy by default because my lady is a huge tequila person, and I've always just kind of been open to all kinds of spirits.
What was your go-to before tequila then, before you met your...
Originally as a kid was Guinness.
Oh, really?
When I got into drinking, it was Mickey's 40s because that was around that time.
I do remember that.
And then it was Guinness because it was like just a bunch of Irish dudes drinking.
I'll pour some of this up for you.
Thank you, sir.
So this is in Anejo, which I'm sure you know is... I think it's has to be aged at least 2 years to be considered an añejo, I believe.
Oh, you can smell it right away. That
it smells good.
Jumped right out of the bottle. But yeah, so it was Guinness. It was Mickey's and Guinness was like my introduction to drinking.
Yeah, remember the big mouth with the grenades, right? Yeah. I remember those.
We used to see if we could pound the 40s, you know. And then I got into drinking whiskeys and Crown.
Okay.
Became my main go-to drink at any bar.
Really, the little
and
purple
bag.
It
kind of is in my back pocket.
Straight up, or what do you drink it with?
On the rocks.
On the rocks. Just Crown on the rocks.
Yeah. But now, now I love trying all kinds of different stuff. You know, I have things I like more. I've been getting into gins a little bit too, which I never did. You know,
gin. Yeah, I got on that gin train too, like probably 8 years ago with Hendrix. That was my first kind of, because I remember gin as like what is that one gin that's not Bacardi, that's a rum. What is the gin? Tanqueray,
yeah.
And I never really could get with that.
Yeah.
But once I got introduced to Hendrix, do you have a favorite?
Not really. You know, I do drink a lot of Hendrix because it's like a common one. You see it at most of the bars, but
that's a good gin, man.
Yeah, Bombay, Aviator.
Is that good? That's
the one that
Ryan. Is it Ryan Gosling or Ryan
Reynolds?
Reynolds. You're right. Yes,
something.
Yeah.
It's good.
Is it good?
Yeah. I mean, they're all. I'm not like I don't have like a crazy palate to where I'm like, oh, this is shit and this is really good. I could tell the different versions. Yeah. But I mean, I enjoy a lot of them, you know, and they're all fairly similar to me because I don't drink it like exclusively.
You got to try Monkey 47.
Okay.
It's a really good gin. Okay. Is it 43 or 47?
I will say though that when I'm trying to get drunk, tequila is what I like to drink.
Tequila will get you there. Yeah.
Because it's an upper. It gets you going.
Yes. Yeah.
So, what about you? What's your drink of choice?
I'm a tequila guy, man. I'm big into tequila. I do like gins though. Like I like lately. I've perfected martinis, like a gin martini, a dirty martini.
Oh, I love a dirty martini,
bro. I'll tell you the key to a good martini, in my opinion, is just a hint, maybe like a splash of pepperoni juice.
Oh.
So you got your olive, right? Hint, just you don't want to overdo it. Just maybe a splash, teaspoon, something of pepperoni juice in with the vermouth and the.
You're speaking my language, because I love that.
I'll have you over. We'll do some. Does your lady like martinis too?
Yeah.
Yeah. And blue cheese olive. That. Yes. I'm a blue cheese olive guy. Salute, my friend. Let's see what we got here.
Damn, that is really smooth.
That is not bad.
It's really smooth with a little smoke.
Little smoke.
That's nice.
That's dangerously nice.
Damn, that's tingling my insides.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Hey, The Office was just on. It was right there.
Oh man, that's really nice.
It's not bad, huh?
I mean, I don't normally like neat. I like it on ice or something, but on the rocks. But
this ain't bad.
That's really good.
I don't know about these crazy devils though. I hope this doesn't bring anything crazy out of us, man.
I know. Damn.
Good stuff though.
Yeah, that's really good. I really like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to when I first started drinking. It was always beer, I guess, at first. You know, you have the beer and then like the fruity crap that everyone drinks at first too. But yeah, 40s was kind of my introduction to drinking too, which is, I think, the first time I really drank, because I remember a buddy of mine, his parent, or his brother was a little bit older, and so his older brother would go and ask bums to like buy us alcohol. So it'd be like,
oh shit, okay.
yeah, so we'd go to bums, because we couldn't have been older than like 16 at the time. Or he wasn't older than 16, I was younger than that. I hope my parents aren't watching. And we'd go to like the local store, and he would go up and go to like just a bum. You could tell it was a bum, and be like, hey, buy yourself something and get us something, and 9 times out of 10 it would work.
Yeah.
So
that's a great trick, man.
You had to do what you had to do.
Some of my friends would try to do the smash and grabs where they just run in and
I didn't have the balls for that, man.
Yeah, it wasn't my style, man. I'd like to pay for my shit.
Yeah. We were overpaying because we had to pay the bum his fee, and then we had to,
a premium, bum tax.
Bum tax, for sure, yeah. But it all worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember the Big Mouths, and then the Miller High Life, so I went through that phase for a little bit, the 32-ounce champagne of beers.
Yeah, now that we're older, it's a little harder because you don't want to drink all those calories the same.
That's right.
You got to go with healthy stuff
like tequila. But yeah, this is good stuff, man. Yeah, I like a good gin. Monkey 47, you got to try that out. And Grand Mayan, that's a really good tequila, if you haven't had it, or if you have.
This is really good, man.
Ooh.
Like I said,
it's not bad.
Even neat, it's smooth as can be.
There's no like harsh bite or anything. Like you could sip this all day, especially with maybe a little ice. Yeah.
Just to cut it. I like to cut just a tiny bit.
Yeah. You know what I have been drinking, man, and I actually went through a phase with it, it's called Hibiki. It's a Japanese whiskey.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Really good Japanese whiskey. So it's a little on the pricier side, maybe like $80 or something a bottle.
It's up there.
It's a little more expensive, but I'll do that on the rocks, and just really smooth.
Yeah, I
just
like
hits just right. Do you make a lot of cocktails at home, or are you sipping
only
neat?
Straight stuff at home mostly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's like, I mean, occasionally I was making some dirty martinis too for the lady, because she was getting into that, but she loves tequila. We do a lot of shots. But not a lot of full shots. We do them like in a shaker with some ice, so it kind of waters it down.
Yeah.
And then when you pour it out, it kind of cuts it. Everybody gets a little bit of a cut. It's not like a full bite of the tequila. So we do that a lot. I mean, literally, it's mostly tequila at the house.
Can't go wrong with good tequila.
I do a little bit of the rum, because I work with that company.
Diplomatico?
Yeah. It's actually really
I need to get
good.
a bottle. I'm gonna have to stop and try that. I'm not a big rum guy, but
it's really good with a cigar, because it's just it's sweet. They made it with sugar cane, so there's like a real sweetness to the rum, but it's amazing. It's super tasty, and then you get it with a nice cigar, and you're freaking killing it.
Do you know where it's from? Like origin?
It's like Nicaragua, I think.
Oh yeah. A buddy of mine went to you got a bottle here?
Yeah.
Let's check it out. A buddy of mine went to Barbados, and he swore by the rum from Barbados. Where does it come from? Give Diplomatico a little plug here.
Oh, Venezuela. I should know that.
Venezuela.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm blowing it, man. I'm going to give you this. Take this.
No,
one.
man.
Yeah,
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I've got a couple of them, so try that out and see how it goes next time.
We'll do a full review. I used to do a lot of tequila reviews. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's really good.
They nailed the look of it. It's dope.
It's very like classy,
Super.
gentlemanly.
Yeah.
But this one's won a lot of awards too, so it's like
really
respected in the game. So,
I'm gonna give you my full.
They have a few other versions, but that's their like main. The reverse.
Damn, this is cool.
Yeah.
Venezuela. Okay.
Reserva exclusiva.
Nice. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Are we talking loud enough? Okay. We're both soft-spoken gentlemen over here, so I want to make sure we're picking it all up.
Yeah, tequila. What else is going on, man? Selling houses.
Selling houses, dude.
Wait, I like the story about how you started selling houses, because I feel like that's a...
oh, man.
I feel like that's a good lesson to the youngsters, that it's not easy.
It's not easy.
Door knocking. Do they call it door knocking?
Door knocking, man. So yeah, that was how I first got introduced to real estate, or how I did my first deal was door knocking. Just I was doing auto glass at that time, and I had a family, a mortgage. I had all that stuff, so I couldn't just jump into real estate, because you only get paid in real estate when you sell a house, So I had to keep income coming in. But yeah, I would go to work, for my regular 9 to 5, and then I'd come home, put on a suit, go out and door knock. I usually do like in between 50 and 100 doors a day, and
damn.
That's how
did
I
you
got
have
my
a
first
card
deal.
or a flyer, or what was the?
Just a card. Yeah. I didn't have anything fancy. I didn't really know what to say. I think it was just basically knocking on doors, telling people, you know, who I was and what company I was with, and asking them if they thought about making a move. And you know, I've learned more about sales, and you know, sales should be more about kind of asking questions and telling people stuff, you know. So I've learned that through the years, that's what you do as a good salesman. You ask the right questions to figure out how you can help the person.
The right thing in relationships too with your lady. You got to ask more questions and listen.
The questions aren't hard. It's the listening that gets tough.
Wait, so did you work under people though that gave you some tips, or were you just like
kind of, sort of? You know, what I did initially while I was working my 9 to 5, podcasts were just starting to be a thing. Like, this was probably 11 years ago now or something, and podcasts weren't like they are now. Like, there was podcasts, like Rogan was just coming out and stuff like that, but I started listening to like real estate podcasts, and,
Nice.
and they would interview people that were, you know, top like salesmen or top producers as they call them, and I learned a lot through that. You know, just, you know, I think that's important too for anyone that's getting into anything. I think now is the best time ever to start something new, because you've got YouTube, you've got podcasts. I mean, you can get a
lot of resources.
A whole education for free, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, but for you coming up, tattooing is probably similar, right? You have to pave your way. You have to learn as you go.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like never like to talk about it because I don't want to be a grumpy like, oh, it was so much harder for us, you know. But yeah, everything was harder.
We're there though, bro. Like, we're grumpy old men now.
It's just like, I think in like a sushi restaurant, like a traditional one, where you have to learn how to make the rice, and then you have to learn how to cut the fish, and like you work your way up, and you earn your respect, and you earn the knowledge, and you learn how to treat the food. So like tattooing is like you had to mop the floor, help the artist run the errands, and then you can work your way up to be an artist, and then you learned respect, you learned dedication, you've learned hard work, and you learn so many other things along the way up. So then you value your craft.
Yeah.
By the end of it all, you value it and you protect it, and so that's why a lot of guys get old and grumpy, because it was so hard earned, right?
Yeah.
So that comes up a lot with, you know, the older generation, but I try not to give the younger guys too much of shit, because they don't know. You know, they don't know any better.
Well, has it changed a lot?
Yeah, because you can just YouTube, order some shit online, and you can be a tattooer in like a week.
That's a good point. But that doesn't mean you'll be good, right?
No, but honestly, there's a lot of, because of the teaching methods that are like online, you can figure it out pretty easy.
Yeah.
Like the shit that used to take us like 5 years, you could figure it out in like 5 days.
Really?
You know, just because
there's so many tutorials and stuff to watch. Yeah.
Masterclass, man.
Yeah.
There's the YouTubes, there's all that stuff that like, the information that you had to go into the tattoo shops, get tattooed, be around tattooers, like pick up little tricks. You could just figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, you got to know where to look, and then there's a lot of things in between that. But back then, you couldn't buy machines. You had to like either be at a reputable shop or know someone or make them yourself. Like, they wouldn't sell to like strangers. You had to be like, tattoo supply companies wouldn't sell to like not like novice or like regular people.
Sure.
So it was like really hard.
You almost had to have like an account or something. Yeah, as a shop.
You had to be verified. And
Gotcha.
so a lot of the times you couldn't, and machine makers wouldn't sell to like a random person. As much as they love making money, they kind of came into tattooing really like with that protecting respect vibe.
Yeah.
So they're not just selling their machines to everybody. So like the whole younger generation, back my generation, you couldn't buy stuff. You had to be plugged in with a shop or know somebody, have verified that you worked in a legit place. Like, it was, as much as it was like underground, you still had to like pay your dues and show your credentials to have stuff. Now you could probably get anything you need, find out any information you need, and you don't have as much resistance.
How do you know? Obviously, you've been in tattoo game for a long time, but you know, you'll hear stuff here and there like, oh, you got to be careful of certain inks and this and that from a health aspect. I mean, how do you know? Is it just that you've been in the game so long, you know, reputable companies and what the ink's made out of versus just fly by night, or how do you differentiate?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, back then it was scary because you were trial and error a little bit. Like there's a company, it changed its name a few times because it was putting in like plastics or something into the color ink so it would make it brighter. And it was so not safe, and people would have reactions, but there was you couldn't Google it, there's no Yelp reviews, like there's no way to know. And we just knew that it put in really nice color, so you wanted this stuff.
Sure.
And then it got shut down, the company, it was like out of Texas. It was called, it was called like Unique, or I forget what it was, but then they changed their name, and then we as artists were like, oh, this is the bright stuff, we got to get it. And it wasn't a generation where you were like, everyone was health conscious about everything that was going on.
Yeah.
So you just wanted the bright shit, you know?
Yep.
I have some tats that are probably done with that ink that react to the sun and like are fucking itchy and weird shit.
Really?
But okay, but your question of now everybody's doing pretty up and up stuff, you know? And you know the main companies, and there's, you know, you may have a problem if you get out of somebody's truck or out of somebody's, you know, back alley, but like all the ink companies that are out, you know, they've jumped through hoops, and you know, most of them are very natural, and you know, there's not really many issues with the inks, you know, these days.
That's, you know, you always hear stuff like coming from China or this place or that place, and you don't know what's in it. But I mean, like you said, if it's a company that's well known, right? I mean, you kind of know what you're getting.
And you can get them now. You used to not be able to get it. Like you used to have that verification or the shop stamp of approval or something. But I think now they sell to everybody, which is quite crazy, because my first 10 years of tattooing, you just couldn't get shit unless you knew somebody or you were locked in or verified or whatever.
Yeah. How long have you been tattooing now?
I mean, it's a little gray area because when you first start, you kind of embellish a little bit because you don't want your clients to know that you're brand new.
Yeah.
So there's a little gray area, but it's probably like 23, 24 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you look at tattoos through the years, I mean, it's interesting because, you know, they've found evidence that people thousands of years ago, you know, were tattooed. I mean, they found mummified bodies with tattoos on them, which is gnarly. But when did you start to see? Because if you think of tattoos in the early, let's say early 1900, right? Like the sailor, you know, type tattoos were always very traditional, right? You know, they all had that very traditional look to them. And at some point, and maybe you'll be able to shed some light on this or know a little bit more than I would, at some point you started to get realism kind of coming into the tattoo world. Where do you know where that like started or how that started? Was that a person thing?
That's a good question.
Do you have any idea? Or when did you notice that it was starting to become popular?
Yeah, that's a real good
I know question. It's not your favorite type of tattoo.
But it's it's an interesting question that I should explore more. I think part of realism was, the extent of it was portraits.
Yeah.
You know, and black and gray. And those guys were doing realistic portraits, right? And stuff like that. Realistic imagery, I feel like, only came into tattooing. I mean, I'm sure it's been around a lot longer, but it became very popular in the last 15 years. Mm-hmm. And I think some of that is, you know, the iPad, Procreate, the young generation knowing how to grab photos and copy them. And there's this whole like stigma about realism. It's more technical but less artistic.
Sure. Because
you're copying a photo. So in my generation, it wasn't as popular and respected because you were just copying. Mm-hmm. You weren't drawing artistically a design. You took a photo and you copied it, you know?
Sure.
So you learned how to do it technically, and it's really impressive, right? But from an artistic standpoint, you're not doing anything artistic other than you learn the technical application.
Sure.
So I think as the barrier of entry of tattooing got really easy for young people, YouTube and all this stuff, one of the easiest things to learn is technically how to copy a photo.
Sure.
You know, I had to learn how to draw tattoos. I had to learn how to draw traditional tattoos, which seemingly are simple in design, but they're actually harder to draw in a lot of ways. And you actually, you know, if you're actually drawing them. So there's this whole dialogue and conversation about realism because it's not as, I don't want to say not as artistic because I think you can put holes in that, but you know what I mean? Like it's not...
maybe there's not a lot of original art, right?
It's paint by numbers.
Sure.
And there's people.
But we all have seen bad portraits too, right?
Yeah,
like it takes a true artist to be able to take a photo and then make a an exact replica on skin too, which is another level. But I do understand what you're saying in the sense of, you know, they're not creating out of just their mind.
Yeah,
it's like a picture, and then
it's just a different thing.
Sure.
And to your point about, you know, bad portraits, you see so many bad portraits. But that's also just the lack of technical application. They don't know how to do it, because when you look at those guys that do really good portraits, they make their stencil, they do their blueprint, they know the steps that get them to the best blueprint to make them make that photo.
Sure.
You know, 90% of them aren't freehanding those. You know.
Yeah.
So it's really just the steps of the technician. Like, I know how to make my stencil, gives me the right blueprint. I know how to make the shade and the smoothness. So it's all these layers of just a technical aspect of it, you know. So, there is a good question of like, how artistic is it, you know, and it is a form of art. It's just
I would agree with that. You're like regardless of what type of tattoo you get, whether it's traditional, neo-traditional, realism, you're still kind of a walking museum in a sense, you know, to have something on you that is, you know, art.
Yeah.
You know, I was actually in a store the other day, and like an older lady came up, and she's like, "Do you ever feel like a museum?" Because she was like looking at my arms and stuff, and she was very complimentary. She's like, "Those are cool, you know, tattoos." But she's like, "Do you ever feel like a museum?" But it was funny. I'm sure you must have gotten that a lot, especially earlier on when tattoos weren't maybe as accepted, right? Like now it's pretty common that everyone has tattoos, but 15 years ago or something, because you've been fully tattooed for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, did you get a lot of blowback or anything, or not really?
Yeah, I mean, it was still such a taboo thing that it was, you know, old ladies would grab their kids. Or, you know what I mean? Like, you'd get that energy. Obviously, when I was young, too, I grew up in an area where you wanted to look tough and mean, and I had a shaved head, and I was a big, tall guy, and fully tatted, and so the whole energy around me was definitely something that, like, be wary of this guy, which is what I was trying to do. And that was a time where tattoos weren't necessarily revered and respected as great pieces of art. You know what I mean? It was more like subculture. And like we were talking about earlier, like, just now people respect the artist and the style and the technique and the look of the pieces. And it's a lot more connected to the artist, whereas back in the day it was just like tattoos. The guy's got tats, so he's either been to prison, he's a biker, or maybe in the Navy.
Or something.
But it was like that quick assessment. And
Yeah.
now it's like, oh wow, let me really look at who did this amazing piece on you. You know, and that's back to the museum comment. You know, like, you're wearing pieces of art that could be in a museum, right? Like, or pieces that are from a museum. You know, replicated.
Yeah, like this tattoo is actually from a painting from an old painter in like the, I don't know, 16th century or something. So yeah, you're right. I mean, some of the pieces that are out there are just really, really cool, you know, cool pieces.
But yeah, back then it was, you know, definitely edgy.
I think the cool thing too about tattoos is you know, it's the individualism of what you get, right? I mean, everyone has reasons of, you know, some people just walk in and get whatever, but for the most part, you know, you like a certain look, or maybe a tattoo has a certain meaning, or, you know, for everyone it's something different.
Yeah, and it's a way to be an individual in a society where everyone freaking shops at Costco and buys the same shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's a really way to be daring and show that you're doing something different.
That's getting harder to do though, right? You know, especially with tattoo popularity, to get something that no one else has that's something I kind of struggle with a little bit. It's every time I do think about, maybe want to get this or that, I try to think like, have I seen a lot of people with it? And some stuff you know, you do, and some stuff you don't, right? Like,
yeah, but I always say get what you want.
Get what you want.
Don't worry
That's
about it.
That's a good point.
Don't worry about what people have or don't have, or whatever is inspiring you to get it. Don't worry about if someone else has something similar. Yeah, maybe try to tweak it and make it your own a little bit. But I always just say, just get it if you like it.
If you like it, get it. Yeah, it'll stand the test of time. Yeah. I will say the rough thing about realism is, you know, tattoos are going to fade, right? Like, tattoos, no matter how good the tattoo is, I mean, yeah, some are going to be better than others and hold up longer than others, but the realism tattoos, I think, and I've just noticed this in my own experience, they do tend to you know, because when you have something realistic, the fine little details and stuff, they're going to fade.
Yeah.
You know? So I think traditional tattoos are going to hold up a lot longer as far as just how good they look.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I mean, you think that...
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying
accurate?
that. We've been saying that forever. I mean, it's like, obviously, it's a more simplified design. You do it solid, you do it bold, and you'll be able to see what it is for, 80 years.
80 years,
versus, something that's very detailed that maybe you can rework a few times to bring that detail back out every time. And it's fine, But yeah, there's something to those tried and true, traditional Japanese, traditional Americana. I mean, there's reasons that they've stayed so long, and they are a staple, because they are timeless. And, when we're old guys, we'll be able to tell what we still have on us, and it won't be just mush.
Speaking of museums, I think there's been some like the Yakuza like bodysuits that when someone's died, they've basically skinned them and put them in museums and stuff. That is pretty wild. But I heard of a company too that will take your loved ones like dead, or like your dead loved ones. Yeah, they'll. I don't know, maybe Ethan can Google it, but they can like take a piece of the skin and like preserve it and like frame it. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure there's a company.
You're my Jamie, bro.
I'm sure there's a company that can do that. I've seen pieces. I was in, obviously the Japanese ones. I've seen articles on that. It's rad, and it's a cool way to preserve it, even though it's a little sick in a weird way.
It's a little weird, but I mean, if you have the person's blessing, you see anything?
Yeah, human pelts.
Human pelts.
Human pelts.
So I wonder how that works. Like if it's your loved one and they give consent, I'm sure the person has to give consent, right?
Yeah, it's like donating your organ. Let me donate my skin. There's a piece that I used to go to Scotland a lot, and they have a oddities museum there, like an old museum, and they have like a little chest tattoo cut out, and you can see the hairs, and it's in like some formaldehyde.
Really? And what is it of?
I think it's like a clipper ship or something. That
would make sense.
And I was just like, this is so cool and creepy. I mean, everything in this museum is creepy.
Did you take a picture?
I'm sure I have it somewhere. But it's in an old iPhone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. That's a pretty detailed like bodysuit too.
You know what? And I think that's rad because it's a way to preserve something that wouldn't last forever. But I don't know, man. It's a little creepy too, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like maybe just do a painting of my work and then put the painting on the wall, and so you don't have to go, that's my dad's skin.
So that it says after a fatal boating accident in 2019, Jonathan Gill was told he wouldn't be able to see the body of his twin brother before he was cremated unless he could identify him by his tattoos. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. So they took his skin and kept it.
I mean, in a way, it's cool because I was talking to another tattoo artist about this, and we were saying how our art doesn't last forever.
Yeah,
our art dies with the people that wear our work.
That's a good point.
And that's kind of sad, even though it's like, oh, tats are forever.
Not anymore, though. You get skinned up. Put it
in 100 years, all my artwork's gone because everybody's dead.
But you've been doing original pieces, though.
Yeah.
You were telling me earlier you're thinking about maybe doing an art show.
Yeah, finally, after like 10 plus years.
It's time.
Do a big one. Try to make it a big event.
I'm going to hold you to it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I'm going to hold you to it. We were talking about golf. You've been getting out there and golfing a lot.
Oh, man, I love it.
Speaking of Scotland, too, that's like is that the birthplace of golf?
I think they say that it is.
I think so, too,
I don't know if they verified it, but I think it comes from Scotland.
How rad would that be to golf out in Scotland?
I'm such an idiot. I used to travel there and stay there for months at a time, and I just didn't care about golf at the time. I was in my young 30s, and wasn't into golf. I could have been playing St. Andrews like so many times, and I could have been out here on the course just telling these old fuckers that I played the old course. I played it about
the old
20
world.
times. Because now golf's got a resurgence.
Yep.
I'm on the new wave, obviously. And you got to go to St. Andrews, I guess, like at 5 in the morning and just wait in line and hope you get it on.
Really? So you can't even reserve a tee time?
I don't know if it's different times a year, but yeah, I heard that it's really hard.
I did not know that.
I don't know the details, but this is what I've heard a couple times, that you have to I don't know if you put your name down. I don't know if you can do any prep online. I think you have to go there. I think you have to wait in line. And some people don't get on, I think.
To go all that way and not be able to get
but
on would be a bummer.
I don't know the details of that. But I hope that I have some Scottish connections. I hope that I could get some.
If anyone could get on, I'm sure you can.
But honestly, I don't think I'm good enough to play there yet. I don't want to disrespect the course.
That's an interesting course because there's no like trees or anything, right? Like it's all just like hills. I think
a lot of rolling. Yeah, but I don't really know. I mean, I watched a little bit of the British Open that they do there.
Yes, I think so.
I watched some of that, but yeah, it looked really hilly.
Golf's been going through some wild changes with that Live Tour thing. Have you been kind of following that?
I haven't followed it too much. I just hear the story of like who's leaving PGA to go there and get a good contract.
That's kind of weird though. I mean, all this time for years, there's been no real competition to the PGA, and now you've got this Live or Live. I don't know how I think it's Live.
Live, yeah, I think.
And everyone's kind of heading that way. So we'll see how that affects the PGA. If the PGA was smart though, I feel like they should allow both, because I think competition is always a good thing, you know.
And you know what, like one, PGA has built a reputation and prestige and respect, and they have that pedigree.
Yeah.
And now Live is like this hip new cool thing or whatever, and they're paying a lot of money, and I think it makes PGA look really bad when they trash it.
Yes,
you know
they look like the old man, the old grumpy guy,
just talking shit. Like, don't worry about it. You guys have
you
juice.
About the tattoos. No,
yeah.
No, but I get what you're saying.
Like, you have the prestige, you have the history.
Everything.
Just like be you, and don't worry that someone's gonna, you know. I mean, it's rad that golfers get to make good money, man. I mean, I think it's amazing when anybody gets to make great money.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope to make great money someday too.
Yeah.
And I want to fucking
if you can make that Live money
contract.
Yeah. Need a tattoo circuit or something, some sort of competition.
I'm always like, yeah, you made it, you know?
Yes.
Cheer you on. Like, you obviously, you know, people make money all kinds of different ways, but I'm never mad at somebody for making money. Like, fuck yeah.
I think
get yours, you know?
There's some sort of controversy, though, with it, right? About, like, Saudi Arabia or something. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. Everything's so worldwide now, you know? Like, there's influence. You know, even if you look at the NBA, I mean, that's heavily influenced by China. Like, there's a lot of money between the NBA and China, and you know, China doesn't always. You know, they got their own issues where they're putting people in weird camps and stuff. I'm not an expert on it, but
I think you find dirt, like depending on how hard you want to dig.
Yes, and every country. So. The United States is no.
Oh man,
you know, they've done a lot of bad stuff too.
They got some blood on our hands, bro.
For sure.
We fucked.
And that, you know, I think it goes back to the human aspect, because it's like no matter what race or country or background, you've got good and bad people from that country or that race or that whatever. You know, you've got, you know, so. But yeah, I don't know. This is a global economy, and you know, money's going to trickle in from all over. It's really hard to specify. You know, well, Live's bad because they get their money here or there. You know.
I mean, we can point the finger, but eventually, you know, there's stuff that can come back easily.
Yep.
So if you dig, there's dirt on everything.
Everything.
Especially when you talk about, you know, the global economy. There's nothing pure about America.
No.
There's nothing.
Well, I mean, that's the funny thing too about, and I don't even know if I want to start talking about this. And, this is the problem with drinking tequila and you haven't had breakfast.
You need more, bro.
No, I think I might have a splash more. But yeah, when you start talking about, you know, Russia invading Ukraine, obviously that's a bad, horrible thing. But the United States is not without, you know, their own flaws of going into places where maybe they don't need to be, you know.
Yeah.
It's weird. It gets weird, right? Because you want to be proud of your country and where you come from, but it's impossible to be proud of everything.
I think you could be proud of it too and still be critical of it, you know.
That's a good point.
Government.
That's a good point.
I grew up very proud of America, and I think it's one of the most wonderful places to grow up. I mean, I've been in a lot of countries, and it's fucking amazing here.
Yeah.
But it's fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like especially lately it's been getting a real bad rap. Like I feel like especially the real young crowd says, you know, that there's nothing good about it and stuff. But
that's terrible.
That's not factual. You know.
I mean, we grew up in paradise, man. Compared to some other countries.
Well, I mean, even if you look at the whole Brittney Griner thing, that basketball star, you know.
So this is, I have a controversial opinion on
Let's go. Pour up the tequila.
One, I think it sucks.
It does
I
suck.
think it
Of
sucks
course it sucks.
for weed. Anybody incarcerated for marijuana, I think is bullshit, and that's a whole nother thing. But I do know, as a
have to drink all that.
as a traveler, you gotta fucking watch what you do when you go into certain countries.
Into different
man.
countries,
I know
yes.
that. I don't travel like crazy, but I know if I go to Russia, I'm gonna
You better be
polish
clean.
my bag and make
Yes.
sure there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
No dirt. And I've been to Israel. I've been to like countries where you just can't go in fucking off.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be on it. So I don't know if it's her people's problem, why they didn't help her and guide her to not bring shit, or just say, hey, double check. We're going to Russia. This shit's crazy over there.
Yeah.
Like, is she fucked up?
Well,
right? Was it a mistake? She left it in there, she said, or what?
I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what happened, but I do agree 100% with you because, if you're going somewhere like Russia,
Dude, of all
they
the
don't
places,
play.
Russia.
Yeah, they do not play. But I also think, I don't know how old she is, but I think when you're an Olympian, which I believe she is, when you're in a country like America, where you can say whatever you want, like if you disagree, you can say, fuck the president. Like you're very free to do whatever and say whatever. You can smoke weed in most places, and then maybe she just thought I can kind of do what I want, or it was a mistake. Either way, you know. Yeah. I don't know, man.
So you can't get mad at Russia for doing Russia shit, right? They're gonna okay, you fucked up.
Russia's gonna
broke our rule. We're gonna 9 years. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Or use you as a political pawn to get some back. Whatever they're doing, but I just think it's a travel issue. Like she should have had people help making sure she didn't have anything in her bag to travel to Russia of all places.
Yes.
Double check your bag.
Especially someone that high profile, right?
And with the obviously no one should be in jail for marijuana.
No,
in any level.
Especially here. That's the other criminal thing is that there's so many people I'm sure still locked up here in our own country. We're saying, oh, Russia's so bad for locking her up, but how many people are in jail right now for marijuana or even drugs in general? I mean. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think anyone should be locked up for nonviolent.
But here's the thing: at the time, those were the rules. As a society,
you're right.
So that's another way to look at it. Like, because you look back and you're like, let's get everybody out because they got put in jail for this legal marijuana. Like, but at the time, you couldn't do it.
The rule's the rule.
So. But then, I don't know.
It's tough. It's a tough situation because I try to think of myself, like what if I messed up and brought something over? But you're right. You got to triple, double, quadruple check to make sure.
That's a long time. 9 years. That's a fucking long time. But like, remember the guy that got caned in Singapore?
Yes.
Like that's their rules.
That's the rule.
You go
Don't
over there.
Them on the ground.
You can't get American rules in Singapore.
Yes.
You can't get American rules in Russia. I go to Mexico. That's why I don't love going over there because you know what the fuck can happen because my rules don't apply.
That's a good point.
So
their rules don't apply there.
Even their rules don't apply there.
The cartel runs the police.
Yeah.
I just saw something on there where, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, but they arrested some cartel guy, and then the whole cartel stormed the police station and just took everybody out and got their guy. Like
it's the real Wild West, man.
That's crazy, man.
I have a healthy fear and respect for the cartel. I don't even playing with them.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, they run stuff down there.
Keep me away from TJ and the border towns. I don't need it. We used to go over there as a kid. I don't need to go over there for nothing right now.
Yep, I remember same thing when I was like 18, 19, go there.
But yeah, the Brittney Griner thing's really sad, but...
Well, it sucks too because it looks like, at least from what I've read recently, that they're going to trade the arms dealer, which is a bad guy.
A real bad guy.
Real bad guy for Brittney Griner, which I understand. I mean, she's an American. I agree.
For her.
I agree. But I also feel like it's I'll be honest, I don't, Brittney Griner, I don't really agree with a lot of her politics stuff she's fine. Like everyone should be able to speak their mind on whatever they feel or whatever they want to say.
They should, but they can't. We're in a society where people can't.
Well, I think now they can.
It's getting better.
It's getting a little better, yeah.
Maybe.
But now I think it's going the other way. Like
extremely the other way? Or?
Like, like if you're too conservative now you could get canceled the other way.
Oh.
Like what's her name? What was her name? Gina Carano or whatever. She got fired from the Star Wars thing 'cause she wasn't down.
I haven't heard about this.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like the pendulum swings like really far. Like, you know, it'll go so far one way and then like, oh, we're too far this way. We got to go back the other way, and it's hard to maintain like a happy medium. You know,
that's what it is, man. Just need to be medium and thoughtful, and extreme on anything is too much. You know?
Yes, extreme one way or the other is a lot.
But yeah, we can go all day with that whole topic: the woke versus the conservative versus
the moderate.
Defund the police, defund the FBI, fucking all that mess.
Oh man,
I've been taking myself away from it.
It's probably smart.
It's such a toxic conversation in a lot of ways.
It is.
If either someone shares your view and you're like, oh yeah, we both think this.
Yes.
But if you go in with someone that you don't agree with, it gets real nasty. Even if it's like two nice people, it's so weird. It can. Because it's really hard to change someone's mind that's on the extreme other side.
Yeah.
And it's hard to change your own mind when you're on an extreme the other side. So, I mean, I do my best to live in the middle and try to see both sides of everything.
I think that's it right there. Being able to have a conversation, you know. But I think it was amplified. You know, I think we were already going on that trajectory once Trump got into office because he's a very divisive type of person, and that kind of woke up, you know, both sides to be like either like, yeah, we gotta be with this guy, or like, no, we really can't go that route, and then pile COVID on, and now you've got this perfect storm and elections. All this like perfect storm, and now we're all kind of, I think things I'm hoping are maybe settling down, but I don't know.
I think they're going to ramp up again, man. And so it's like, how do we handle it? As an individual, how am I going to handle the disagreements, the different point of views? And I think I'll handle like I always do, you know, try to see put myself in the other person's shoes, try to understand why they see something the other way. But I think we're going to see another rip roaring, you know, when's the election year?
So it would be 2024?
Coming soon,
yeah,
right?
2024.
Yeah. It's nasty, bro. Because now everyone's like, they're like gang members.
Right?
Bloods and Crips.
Bloods and Crips, like the Blues and the Reds.
Americans. It's not love thy neighbor.
It's not agree to disagree anymore. But I think that's where the real problem is. Like, I don't know. I think being able to have a dialogue like we're having, because I would say you and I probably differ a little bit politically. I would say
maybe a little less than normal though, because I'm constantly trying to evolve my train of thought and see.
That's a good point.
I talk with my lady a lot about this because, you know, her parents are a little bit different than our. You know, when you're young, it's easy to be liberal. You want to protect everybody, but
that's a great point. Yes, when you're young, it's easier to be on the side of liberal. You know, because you don't have a job. You really know what taxes are. Like you just kind of like
you have a pure ideology of it from a different perspective. And then when you are a business owner and an adult and a taxpayer in a different way, in a different bracket, you see a whole other side of things. You know, so why?
And you put a lot of time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into building something. And you're like, wait a second, you know, this thing or that thing kind of doesn't make sense anymore.
You just see the world differently a little bit. So I know I've changed and morphed a little bit of my political views and my standpoint, you know, probably from 2-3 years ago. First, you know, started hanging. But it's messy and it's hard to just belong to a side, right?
I belong to
ideologies and common sense and morals and integrity. But I could get into a whole argument about, you know, how a lot of one side's very religious based, which I don't like. Which I don't, you know, just not for me.
It's not for you,
And that's I think a huge problem, because that's not common sense. That's not, you know, that's based on, you know, something that's not my way of life. You know?
Of course.
But
I think, and I think with everything there's a yin and a yang, right? Like there's a lot of good things associated with a religion, right? Okay, you know, it maybe gives people a moral compass, you know, do unto others as, you know, you want done to you. But then there's a whole other side of it that people are judgmental and cut people out of their, you know, treat people bad if they don't think the same way. And, you know, there's a lot of negativity with religion as well. So, you know, it's tough, man. It's tough being a human being.
Well, it's just it's complex. You know?
Yes.
But the simple way is to treat people how you want to be treated.
Work hard, be kind.
Yeah.
Work hard. What's the slogan? Like, you got the slogan. What is it?
I don't know. Do I have it?
You got the slogan. I can't remember now.
Self-made dues paid? No.
No.
Hard work and positivity?
There it is, right there. Hard work and positivity. I think if you work hard, you treat people right, and you try to be the best person you can, everything else should kind of fall in line.
Yeah.
But it's tough, man. It's not easy being a human being so complex.
We'll solve these problems one tequila glass at a time.
What are we going on? How much time have we got? Where are we at?
About 40, 50 minutes.
40, 50 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
We'll wrap it up here quick.
Yeah, it's hard to it's hard to touch on all these big ass things. The world's so complex and there's so many gray areas. But it really comes down to treating people with love and respect. And then just work hard, not expect anything for free, and all that shit.
Yeah. All the golden rule stuff really applies.
Yeah.
But it is frustrating because I don't know, maybe it's social media too that has really taken us off course, because for a lot of different reasons, right? So social media is one thing where people are flexing all the time and they're driving Lamborghinis and they're going on yachts, and you get the people that are like, I should have that, so you get this kind of tension of classes, right? You got your rich and your poor. And then you've got the political aspect where there's all these accounts where it's like, conservative accounts are just bashing liberals, and liberal accounts are bashing conservatives. And so it's reinforcing whatever you already feel. You're following that and you're like, those people are dumb, And
it hypes you up.
It hypes you up, and you see it every day.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe 50 years ago, you might have disagreed, but you didn't really see it that much.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't really agree. Now it's like every lunch break, every 5 minutes, people are looking at their phone and like, oh yeah, I forgot I hate those people,
It's so funny, man, because we are all so much more alike than we are different, especially Americans.
Yeah.
We all have different levels of city, rural, all the shit, but we all want the same shit. And it's so funny how we can fight against each other. And it's really just we're all wanting most of the same shit,
Yeah.
But the path, we see the path so differently sometimes,
Yeah, how to get there seems a little different for everybody.
But, my favorite thing about being a tattooer is everybody that sits with me is different. And they have a different point of view.
That's a good point.
And I get to fucking have a real conversation with them. And I'm, I don't have a pushy temperament. I'm not like, you don't believe in that? What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm always like, why do you think that?
You're asking questions.
Yeah, like what makes you think that that's the right way?
Mm-hmm.
And just try to find out. And I get to have those nice conversations with people about shit that I maybe didn't believe in or don't see the same way, but I could be wrong about fucking half the shit, I think. You know what I mean? And I live like that.
Well, I think having an open mind, like you said, you're open to see that maybe you might be wrong about something.
Yeah.
I think that's important, because I feel like a lot of people, once they've made up their mind that this is it, and you can't get them off of that, I don't know if that's a good world to live in.
Yeah.
Where everyone kind of feels that way. But the other confusing thing too is, there's so much information about so many different things that you can kind of find something to prove your point, no matter which way you go. With the internet, right? You can. Yeah,
you find the one article that stands for what you believe, but you pass over 5 others that maybe say the other way. Because I do it with my girlfriend all the time. I do. I'm like, that's not right. Let me look, and then I scan through, and I'm like, okay, this one is my point.
This is the one. Yep.
Boom.
Yep. I told you. Yep. Yeah. You ignore all the the big websites that are reputable, and you go to that one off website. Well,
this one has my point.
Yeah. Yeah, we're living in strange times. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see the next 10, 20, 30.
We got to brace ourselves.
The AI thing, man. Well, I was talking to Ethan on the way down here about, I saw an article where the CEO of Adobe, which is the Photoshop company, is talking about these deep fake things. Have you heard of that? Mm-mm. All right, so basically what they are able to do, I'm sure you've seen this on maybe Instagram or something, where they can kind of put someone else's face on your face,
on digitally.
Digitally, yes. Digitally, yes.
Well, yeah, like Snapchat, right? Or
like Snapchat, but this is like another level. Like there's a Tom Cruise guy that basically he does these videos with the filter of like Tom Cruise, and it's almost like you cannot tell that it's not Tom Cruise, and his impression is really this, dude. This right here. This is not Tom Cruise. This is like digitally put this face on.
wow.
Do you have a video of the real guy, what he really looks like?
I mean, this is great for movies.
You can kind of tell if you really look at it, but
wow.
so the CEO of Adobe was basically saying like we could see a real problem. Like we got to walk this back a little bit because we're going to be able to basically make videos where it's Luke Wessman like robbing a bank and no one can tell if it's you or someone with a deep fake video type of thing.
Yo, there's a whole new layer of problems we're going to come across that we have just been on the cusp of.
Yep.
Or cusp.
Just scratching the surface
of
but there's also a lot of exciting things too, like medical advancements, and I mean, there's a lot of good things that comes with technology.
Man, just I could do GPS of any golf course on my on my digital watch. It'll tell me the distance from the middle of the green to the fucking pin.
To the pin, yep. Yeah, there's a lot of good things. Oh, here you go. So the guy kind of looks like him a little bit if you look here.
Right. Oh yeah, he does look like him.
He does look like him, but I mean, it's crazy. I don't know if we can put that in front of the camera or not, but what is the guy's name so we can at least shout it out? Does it say?
His name is Miles Fisher.
Miles Fisher. So Google that if you're watching this.
Miles Fisher.
Miles Fisher is fishing. Well, we'll wrap this up, man. I appreciate your time as always. I know you got a lot going on, so.
Yeah, man, I gotta go.
If I can convince you to tattoo me, drink tequila, and talk shit, it's always a good day.
I could do this every day.
That's why you're gonna start your own podcast. It's coming.
I hope so.
It's coming. Ethan's gonna get you right. We'll get you going. We're not gonna have you procrastinate anymore. Tell me real quick about the cards. Is that out yet, or what's that? Have they dropped them yet? Or
so the Topps card's not out yet.
Okay.
Yeah, have we talked about that at all?
I just see you posting here and there, and I just keep telling you I want one, but I don't know when they're out yet.
I've been just teasing it a little bit. It's been really cool. They do this limited series every year called, it's an Allen and Ginter set, which is like the sponsor of like a Michelin or like whatever. It's like Allen and Ginter set, and it's world champions. So it's not just athletes, it's like other notable people.
Okay.
And somehow somebody put my name
your name in the hat.
So I have a
like
card,
that.
a Topps baseball card with my face on it.
Dude.
And just a little bit of my stats.
Are you the only tattoo artist, or is there any other?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's huge.
Because it like last year, it's athletes too, I think, and then like there's been like Anthony Bourdain had one, or like random cool, like just random people. So somehow I got on there. So that's a big claim to fame. My Topps card.
To be in the same Topps card series as Anthony Bourdain that's a big deal, man.
Well, I don't think he's in this year, but yeah.
But he was one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
I don't know who's going to be in it. I think they sent me a list, but I kind of scanned it, but I've just kind of forgotten about it now. But I think it'll start showing up. Yeah. At some point this year, hopefully.
So when they or you might not know, are they dropping in like a box set or like individual packets?
Yeah, it's in a
little bit of both.
Like it'll be in. I think you buy packs, just like you buy
regular baseball cards. Dude, that's
so you'll
awesome.
have to like just find me. I'll probably buy a bunch, trying to find a couple just to have.
Well, let me. I told you already, but let me know when they drop because I definitely.
They're supposed to send me some.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I had to sign like 200 or 300 of them, and then send them back to Topps, and then they put those in the packs, signed ones,
really?
Actual signed ones.
Really?
So like certain people will find one that has my signature on it.
Dude, that's rad.
It's a pretty ugly signature, but I made it work. And they're mini cards, so they're a little smaller. So it was pretty tricky to sign those.
Oh, okay. So they're not the size of an actual.
Size,
They're a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's cool. And you're not sure when they drop?
I don't think they're always a mini card, but this year I think they're doing like the smaller cards. Some years are just different,
Gotcha.
But I don't know. I could ask. I haven't asked.
Yeah.
I just kind of like super excited, signed them all, sent them back, and then I just figured they'd come out some point.
You did something with Fender too, right? Was it Fender?
Fender. I did a guitar.
Yeah.
With the musician, and I did an eagle and some lyrics on it. Yeah.
That's rad.
Tim Montana, country singer. He's
Tim
not like
Montana?
major, but he's out there.
Yeah. Are you still listening to a lot of what do you listen to lately? You got me on to what's his name? The Godspeed guy. What's his?
Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan. Because I'm not a big country guy, but he's good, man.
Yeah, he's good.
He's got a unique style.
I was still listening to a lot of hip hop.
Yeah.
I live in the hip hop space mostly.
Really?
Yeah, that's my main shit.
That's your shit, huh?
Yeah.
What's your? Give me your top 5. You got a top. You don't have to put them in any order, but like, give me. Who's your go-to? Are you old school?
Pac, Nas.
So are you putting Pac over Nas?
Not necessarily. Pac, Nas, J, M.
Really? Do you listen to a lot of Eminem?
No, but I feel like he's a top.
I respect M as a lyricist, but I don't find myself listening to him that much.
Who's my 5th? It's not Biggie. He's in my top 10. He's not my top 5.
That's interesting because if I was to listen to Pac or Biggie, I think I'm always picking Biggie. But that's my preference. So you're picking Pac then?
Oh yeah.
Really?
West Coast.
West Coast. Okay, I can respect that.
It's deep in my blood here.
I can respect that.
And then it gets gray because I like
What
groups.
about newer stuff?
I like Roddy Ricch. Roddy Ricch, or whatever. Polo G, I like.
Some of the new guys you're alright.
But I don't listen to a lot of the littles. I don't know a lot of the littles.
What about Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne's
A little bit.
I never really loved his music, but I've always liked Lil Wayne. You know.
Respect him.
Yeah, he put Drake on. He's like
True.
He's
True.
He's got some history.
That
in the
last
game.
Drake album though was like I don't know what that was. That was like a.
Yeah, I scanned through it.
Oh, you like it?
You
Nah,
do?
get
Huh?
out of here. He's a young kid right here.
I've always been down for Drake's music, and
But that was more like a club, like I don't know what that was.
None of the songs hit me.
It's like a house music.
House music or something. Yeah, it wasn't for me. But Drake usually he's got some.
Yeah, but what's your main go-to? Are you country? No, you're not country.
No, I don't like country.
Gary Clark Jr. What do you do? What's your shit?
I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff,
that's
but if it's music, what do I?
Frank.
I'm a big I love Frank Sinatra, but I do like Kanye a lot.
Yeah.
I like Kanye a lot, but Frank Sinatra, I always force you to listen to Frank
that's
on the
cool.
course.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
I get with it.
Louis Armstrong. I guess I'm an old man at heart. You know, I listen to a lot of.
You get
old
older
stuff.
when you get on the golf course.
That's true. A little Frank Sinatra, a little cigar, and now I'm 60, 67, 90, whatever.
But I've always just been very widespread in my musical taste, man. If it's made with some passion and talent, I dig it.
You dig it,
country
yeah.
to rap to trap to old school. I mean, I have things that motivate me. You know, I like hip hop, and I've always like Jay-Z, like growing up, like the struggle, the hustle, like that's what I identified with.
That's
I didn't
a good point,
identify
dude.
with like angry, suburban kid music. You know, it was more like street, gotta hustle.
I do agree with you that hip hop is much more motivational than you might realize. You know, especially the older style hip hop where they're talking about coming up and the cool thing about hip hop, it can come off braggadocious, but they're very much. Kanye had a cool quote that is one of my favorite quotes. He says, if you're a fan of Kanye West, you're a fan of yourself, because all his music is basically saying like, I could do it, you could do it. You know, you could do it too. Anything you want to do, you can do. And that is the cool thing about hip hop. They're always talking about what they do, what they have, and that is inspirational because it gets you like, let's go.
The hip hop, the leaders of hip hop have inspired youth. In a lot of ways, maybe not always good ways, but inspired them to reach for nice shit, or greater things, and a lot of them, like Jay, I love because he's just, is he a billionaire now from business?
Yeah,
and coming from the streets, like that's the American dream at its purest,
And hip hop too. I mean, most hip hop artists have come from the almost lowest form of, as far as like on the class system, if you want to put it that way, like come from nothing to billionaire
Drake,
status.
I think he was a young actor and
True. He was in, what was that? high school show or something.
Yeah.
Grassi right there, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of them have that full on from nothing to something, you know, and that resonates with me, and it resonates with a lot of people, you know.
Yeah.
That whole self-made thing.
Yeah, totally. And the hustle too, but like the Kanye, I'm on Kanye hard, but the Kanye documentary on Netflix.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, you think of Kanye like, oh yeah, he's a superstar, he's this or that, but you know, when he had his first album, no one knew who he was, you know, and it talks a lot about, or it shows, like the documentary is a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and he was literally going into offices of record labels like, yo, press play on my CD player, you know, and people were just kind of like, yeah, you know, it's cool, because he was nobody, and he was out hustling, so I respect that about all the hip-hop artists. Like, it's not an accident that you get big. It doesn't just accidentally happen. Yeah. It's talent, it's hard work, it's preparation, it's all that stuff. Kind of like yourself.
I haven't got big yet, though.
You're big. You're big time.
Not until I get my podcast going.
Dude, how did that, what was that trajectory like as far as going from Luke as just Luke, local tattoo guy, to Luke Wessman, the man, the myth, the legend? Like, at some point there had to be something. Was it the shows, the reality shows? What was it? Miami Ink. I mean
those helped, but they didn't. You know, I mean, because I wasn't a main character on the show, so I wasn't like really getting that TV time. I was just building every brick. You know.
Was it social media?
Social media helped. Got on Instagram at the right time, and also had nice things to offer, like great tattoos, and I was living in New York and traveling. I think I was living in New York when Instagram was really popping. So, you know, I had cool things to show, you know, and that was before they bogged everybody down, and you could just grow, and everyone was like, oh, this guy does cool tats, he tattoos famous people, he does cool gentleman shit, he's in a big city. Like, I was just hitting right at the right time. Yes. And also I was doing it before a lot of tattooers were, because they were kind of like, oh, that's not cool or corny at the time. Everyone was sitting back and talking shit for a minute.
And you jumped on quick.
I just jumped on, you know, and then that was instrumental, but then also I had all the shit to back it up. Sure. I was traveling, I was working at really well-known shops, I was, you know, so, and then I had a platform to put everything. So, yeah, I mean, Instagram helped a lot. It helped a lot, which is why it's sad, it's so shitty now. Yeah, the algorithm gods, right? Yeah, like for like the last 8 years or whatever, they fucked it, you know?
It is a little lame how they switch things up, and if you're not switching with them, then you're kind of shoved down. You know, it's stupid. You know, because you got people that follow you for a reason, right? They want to see what you're doing, and but
it was free. You know,
so. That's true. You can't complain about something that was free and helped you grow, right? I'm sure you've made countless amounts of money from people that found you through Instagram. They ended up getting. I mean,
a lot for me.
I think that's how we probably ended up meeting, probably. You know, because I didn't really watch a lot of the old tattoo shows, so I think I don't even know how I stumbled across you, but you've always had a vibe, man, which I appreciate with the gentleman stuff, with obviously the tattoos, and you know, I think people appreciate people. I can only speak for myself, but I think this is a human nature thing where people gravitate and appreciate people that are doing things, and not only doing things, but putting it out there, like, I'm doing this, you know, I'm traveling here, I'm connecting with, you know, this person, I'm, you know, even if you try something and maybe it doesn't work out, you're still doing something, you know, and I think people gravitate towards the doers rather than the talkers. Yeah, I agree. Easy. I must be doing something right, because I have good people following me and finding me and getting tattooed by me. That's my biggest success, is good people sitting in my chair. I think that's a good way to end it right there. Good people sitting in the chair. Well, I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate you letting us come and get you drunk off tequila. I need to Uber home. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we didn't drink keep an eye out for this guy's podcast. We don't know what it's called or when it'll be out, but it'll be soon. It's coming. Cool.